Hey y'all, good morning. This is Don Claus, old Happy Mouth. How many of y'all had your coffee this morning? Well, that's I ain't gonna do no cooking today. We're just gonna sit down and talk about something almost everybody in the world do every morning is drink a good cup of coffee. So today what I want to talk about is coffee like we drank in the Bayou country in South Louisiana. Back in those days, Cajun people always kind of made a ritual of drinking coffee. I mean, now you go into some of the cities like New Orleans and everything, and some of the stuff that the early Ursuline French nuns brought in from France and all, they would drink their Javas and their mochas. And I mean, all of this been way around hundreds of years before Starbucks. So Starbucks, y'all ain't done nothing. But anyway, let's get back to drinking coffee. Now Cajun people, what I call, we down the bayou. We're a little different than the city folks. But down on the bayou, we always like a good, strong, dark coffee. Now, I remember as a kid, my daddy would always make the coffee. Now, there was a way we had of doing coffee to get the correct flavor out of it. The early Cajun bayou folks, Mama had this little ceramic coffee pot. And she would boil water, and she'd put her coffee grounds in the top. This was a drip pot, and what you do, what the early folks would do, they'd take like 2 tablespoons of water and dump it over them grounds and let it bubble and fizzle, and then that way what that was doing is releasing all of the aromatic flavors within that coffee bean, that dark coffee bean. Now a lot of people back then also bought the coffee beans already green, and they would roast them themselves in the oven. So but anyway, a tablespoon at a time over that coffee till you got the desired amount. But it was a slow process because what you're doing is releasing the flavors within that coffee bean, them oils and that deep rich flavor. A lot of folks make the mistake of pouring a bunch of water real quick, and you kind of lose the effect of the flavor of the coffee. But anyway, that's the way we always drank. Coffee worth drinking was full bodied and full of aroma. Now my daddy always, when Mama made coffee, it was so black sometimes, I mean, you could paint the house with it, with the leftovers. There was nothing, almost threw it away. You could patch a roof with it. It was so dark and rich. But that kind of what I'm wanting to talk about this morning is coffee, because I believe life begins on the front porch with a cup of coffee at this stage in my life. And you know, I wake up every morning thanking God for that cup of coffee, because that's another part of Happy Mouth. When you drink a good cup of coffee, your mouth is happy, I guarantee you. So let's talk a little bit about coffee. Now, back when, I'm going to put my glasses on. I got some notes here, and I hope y'all forgive me because I'm not always the brightest person in the world. But sometimes now in the morning we got what we would call a cafe au lait, which is what Starbucks later on capitalized on making. But in the old days, sometimes we didn't do it regular, but sometimes after breakfast, Mama would take some milk, some milk or some cream, and warm that and get that to a scalding point right when it would start boiling, and then mix that with the coffee, and that's what we call a cafe au lait. And I mean, a lot of people didn't drink coffee, and they drink it pure black, which, you know, the old French people called it café noir. So that was pretty well with the Bayou coffee. Was deep and rich, and then every now and then we used it as what I call desserts. What a lot of people drink now in the Starbucks, they put all kind of flavors and almonds and banana coffees and stuff. I mean, I don't want no dessert. I want a good cup of coffee first thing. Now later on during the day, most Bayou folks, we drank coffee all day long. Now then there was light mixture sometimes, like I said, with the cafe au lait that we would mix with the hot scalded milk and use that almost as to lighten up the taste buds and put a little flavor in there. But now there's another thing that developed that I want to talk about, and what a lot of people know, what we tend to call coffee and chicory. Now this was something that had to be done, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the history of coffee and chicory. Back when, way back when, the people like I mean, there's a famous restaurant, Cafe Du Monde in New Orleans, that you drink the coffee and donuts, and that's a dark roast chicory coffee. Now chicory is kind of a leafy, it's a cultivated leafy vegetable with, it's almost got like a carrot-shaped roots. Now they would roast this, and ground it up and mix it with the ground coffee bean, because there was a period in history which, during the Napoleonic Wars, where there was blockades, and coffee wasn't coming into what we consider America now, into certain parts of the world, because of the wars that was going on, and they were blocking off the shipping and everything. So people, in order, especially in the deep bayou countries, had to take a shortcut and make their coffee beans stretch out. So that's how the chicory root ground and mixed with the dried coffee kind of helped fill in the budget when the beans wasn't so available. So that's how the flavors of what we call coffee and chicory developed back then. And so I just kind of wanted to do a little documentary this morning on coffee, and because, like I said, it is life begins with a cup of coffee in the front porch, and so this is kind of the part 2 episode of Happy Mouth. Sometimes you're gonna see me sit back and talk about and tell stories and everything, and that's what I want to do, is enrich America about the culture and the evolution of things down in the Bayou country in South Louisiana. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in with me, and God bless, and y'all enjoy yourself a good cup of coffee. No matter what brand you like to drink, enjoy your coffee. God bless.